I want to know that I'm leaving a legacy behind.
One thing you said I really liked, that you have to work smart and hard. You look at the most successful people in their field, they're saying they're willing to put in those long hours, they're willing to work. Then it's also, how can I do everything smarter?
Once you have the three elements combined, you might not be successful financially, you might not be successful spiritually, but you know you are successful for yourself. I don't want to be in the dark times, but the darkest time of my life, in hindsight, makes you feel and then make you appreciate the little crumb on that table. And John Madden would go and say, the harder you work, the luckier you get. Hard work is, nobody can take it away from you.
Welcome to the Takeover with Tim and Cindy, where we show you how to dominate every area of life and business. Let's get winning.
Welcome back to the Takeover. Today we have celebrity fashion designer and pop culture icon, the man, the myth, the legend, Jeff Hamilton. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm honored to be in your show, and thank you for those very nice compliments. I'm humbled.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's because we were chatting just a little bit before the show, and I am so excited to probe into, because I started asking you just a few questions, and you answer them a lot differently than most people answer the kind of questions that I would ask. And so I'm really interested to get into today's show because, a lot of our listeners very big into what does it look like to win in their arena of business. And when I started asking you some questions, it feels like you have a much different way of looking at the world and life than the majority of people I've talked to. So I'm really excited to get into this episode and kind of to tap into the brain of Jeff Hamilton a little bit and let people kind of hear more of your story and hope to hear a few new angles as well.
I appreciate that. So you might be right that I have a different perspective of what success is and reward are. So the way my whole life I've been an entrepreneur. So when I moved to America in 1980, I was 24 years old, and just like basically so do the math, I'm 68 years old. I was very ambitious. I was not a designer. My background was math and physics. I was born in Morocco, grew up in France, to America, like I said, 24 years old, married with two kids and $6,000. And I really just, for me, was all about, for lack of a better word, hustling and just trying to make a living, entrepreneurship, trying to do this, try to do that, and I succeeded in a big way, when I founded Guess Jeans for Men as the first licensee ever of Guess Jeans. And, within 2-3 years, I was doing $75 million in sales and so on and so forth. But fast forward to now, and when I made my comeback about 3 years ago, my perspective and my goals in life are completely evolved through time, where money is very important, and we're in a world of business and money, but it's important for me, but it is not my only priority right now. Today, I'm as long as I have food on my table, I can provide for my family, and live a quality life. And I've always lived well, and thank God I have a great quality of life, and I appreciate everything that the universe have gifted me with that. So that's one of the elements. For me, there's three elements the way I look at it, where my rewards come from. So obviously the financial success is important. And two is realizing, and I might have to revisit that area to know that I can wake up every morning and then I know that at this stage of my life, I found what God or the universe has gifted me as me being able to go and work and being able to do the things that I love, and also to be able to reach out as many people as I can, just because they relate to my designs, and through my designs, my way of expressing myself. That's how I have my following on not only my design, but everything is all combined between the business and also making a difference in pushing the culture with my little contribution in my little angle, my little corner of the culture. There's me, and I try to do as much as I can and try to influence people and also inspire like a whole new wave of young designers and people that are hopefully can motivate and inspire. And for me, that's a reward that's not quantified with the dollar number on it, but it's just a personal love and satisfaction. That's a reward. And to simplify it, like, and we can go in depth later. The third one is, and I always say the same thing. It's just kind of like very pretentious and very humbling at the same time. I want to know that I'm leaving a legacy behind, my grandson or my grandkids or whatever it is, So, and knowing that when I'm not here, people say, well, maybe Jeff Hamilton did that jacket and we did that, and I was part of the history in some way, somewhat. So we have, obviously with the Kobe Bryant jacket that people know in the locker room, whether all the work I've done for Michael Jordan, whether it's Martin Lawrence. I mean, there's a lot of, I'm blessed to have been part of so many iconic moments in pop culture since the 90s, that I have so many great moments that I can associate myself with. And whether it's doing a jacket for Nelson Mandela, or being in the studio with Guns N' Roses, or being with Mike Tyson, being with Muhammad Ali. So that's the pretentious part of it. The humbling part of it is I will not be here to see the rewards of my legacy. So, but that's why for me, it's just always trying to, when we talked also a little bit earlier, I said, for me, I kind of like to live in the present. For me, it's always about planting seeds today and not counting what's going to be tomorrow. I don't live in the future. I don't live in the past. I live in the moment. So when you plant a seed on the ground, and every day I try to plant seeds, like in the culture or in my work or in my family or relationships, you plant a seed and you put all the best energy into it, whether the love. Imagine you're going to a field, you plant a seed, you want to have the right condition. You're not going to go in an iced field where there is a lot of ice and snow and plant a seed and hope that a tree is going to come out of it. So that's the way it is. With us, it's my life. I plant seeds into design and culture and moments, and I nurture it. And I put all my love, effort, passion, and it's kind of, my passion is like watering that little seed. And before you know, there's a little twig that comes out, and there is a little trunk that comes out, and the trunk comes out, and there is, a branch, and then the leaves, and then ultimately is the fruit. So I might not be here to take a bite at that apple or whatever that's, but hopefully a lot of people will take a bite at that apple and would say, they will recognize that I was the one who planted that seed.
I have a follow-up question, but what one thing that's really, really sticking out to me is how much motivation or how much inspiration or drive is outside of just like a self goal. There's a contribution you want to make to the culture. There's a legacy you want to leave here. A lot of the language that you use is very mission, passion, purpose driven. And so I'm kind of curious. There's a lot of different thoughts around, work-life balance. And I'm personally not a huge fan of, well, you got to balance it out. You find out the one thing you could be obsessed with and go all in. So when you hear work-life balance, or you think of having a full life where it's full in every area, what does that mean to you? And what does that look like to you as you're pursuing your passion in your work and your family and your purpose?
There's something that I've always said from a spiritual way was, I'd hate to be hopefully it's going to be a long time, but like on my deathbed and said, you know what, I should have done this. I could have done that. So sorry I didn't go that way. So I really want to maximize my potential. I always want to be the best that I can and the max. And to touch on a subject that we talked about, the high and lows of life. Of course, I've had a lot of highs and a lot of lows in my life. And I'm blessed at 68 years old to be where I am and making a comeback at 65 years old. And, I basically, I carried the torch that I had left 10 years or 15 years behind. And obviously whatever I had done was very consistent. I stayed very consistent throughout my relationship and the people. I mean, I eliminate the negative from my life anymore. I mean, I don't care. I mean, money is not my motivation, like I told you. So it's very easy for me to eliminate negativity out of my life. So I just I feel like it's not right to me and I don't have the right vibration, I push it out. And it's just not because I cannot be bought. My integrity and my soul and my desire to be creative and to be an artist and just to always move forward cannot be bought. So it's not like if you're going to give me 10,000 pieces of a jacket versus me making 3 pieces that are going to kind of turn me on, is going to change my direction. I mean, me having 3 cars instead of having 2 cars, or 10 cars instead of 8 cars, it's not going to change, So it's not for me.
Yeah.
I'm satisfied where I am. In a way, when people often ask me, where were the best time of your life, and hindsight, the best time of my life, best times of my life, other than now that I'm living a dream, is really the best time of my life have been the darkest time of my life. I don't want to be in the dark times, but the darkest time of my life, I'm in hindsight, makes you feel and then make you appreciate the little crumb on that table. And the reason why that's when God gives you a gift or the universe give a gift. I mean, I just don't pretend to think that anybody has faith. But even if you don't have faith, it's okay. I mean, we cannot deny that the forces of the universe are controlling us. But they really are not. They're controlling us only to an extent. I mean, one thing that we have and that the universe is giving us is that we have free will. And free will gives us the opportunity to just go out and work. So I take advantage of that. I don't take anything for granted. I work as hard as I possibly can. I mean, I have in front of me, like right now, just after coming back of 12-day trip, I have like 3,200 memos in front of me. And I'm here at 8 o'clock and I leave at 6 o'clock. I mean, I'll be sitting behind the desk and people think they look at me through Instagram and say, wow, this guy is living the billionaire's life, a charmed life. He's all over. He's like here, he's there, he's sitting on the court, he's with Shaquille, he's with LeBron, he's with like 50 Cent, that one, Travis Scott, whatever. But Instagram life is Instagram life. And
yeah, the highlights. It's the highlights.
So I mean, I'm blessed for me to be able to have all those amazing experiences, but really everything works with hard work. So in definition, the way I look at it of how I rule my life, and that's the advice I give everybody. When people ask me, I always say the same thing. It's just, hard work is nobody can take it away from you. You can work hard, also never give up, always consistently work hard, whatever you can. That's number one. Number two is I don't believe in shortcuts. I don't believe in shortcuts. Is basically hustle and try to find cut corners to try to get faster to a destination that you're going to get. So the more you run to the destination, the more you take shortcut, the more you're going to trip and you're going to hurt yourself. Walk slowly from point A to point B, and it's going to take you 5 times the amount of time to get there. You're going to get there. So my point number 2 is, instead of working hard, besides working hard, work smart also. Make sure you don't make mistakes. Surround yourself with the right people. Eliminate the bad branches in your tree. Like if you have something's rotten, move it out and move there. So those are I'm very strict to keeping those 2 rules already. The third one, which is probably like the most important one of all, because those first 2 points is you have full control of it. That's what you control. The third one is your God-given talent. Whether you're an amazing journalist, whether you're a great podcaster, whether you're a good designer, whether you have a squeegee and you go and like to clean up windshields in the red light, as long as you're passionate about doing it and you really feel you're good at it, just wake up and do everything that you want to do it. And whatever makes you happy, whether it's going to be music, whatever you want to do, but realize what is your God or universe God-given talent.
Yeah.
So once you discover that, like I never knew I was going to be an artist or a designer or a visual artist or jacket designer or fashion designer. I mean, I thought it was going to be, my dream was to become a CPA. I like numbers.
Really?
Accounting, to do things. So I evolved into an artist and a designer. So those are the 3 elements. Once you have the 3 elements combined, that doesn't mean you're going to be successful, but you in your mind you're already successful. You might not be successful financially, you might not be successful spiritually, but you are successful for yourself because you already accomplished something. Then whatever people call, oh yeah, this guy is so lucky, like John Madden John Madden will go and say, the harder you work, the luckier you get. Luck doesn't exist. I think it's just the blessing of the universe. So once you do this, sooner or later, the universe knows that you've done nothing but good actions. As cliche as people might say, good karma, bad karma, I totally believe in it. After 60 years in this lifetime and going through all the challenges and the things that I've done and the ups and the downs and the good and the bad that I did in my life, there's no question that karma, and there's no reaction without an action. And so that's kind of like if you have those 4 elements, and obviously the last 3 years I've had those 4 elements and I've been blessed in every single aspect of my life. But again, because of the dark times in my life, I'm not giving up. I'm still have the drive and motivation just to be. I'm not saying, oh God, I can't wait to be 6 o'clock or to go home and just take a nap and do this or do that or have a drink or no, it's just like I became
You
an
have days that you feel that?
no, never. No, I don't. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm because when you do something that you love and you're passionate about,
No.
it's not the result that counts. It's a process that counts.
Mm.
I enjoy doing the accounting in the morning. I mean, I do go through my accounting and I go through my 3,200 memos and my 600 DMs a day and my 200 or 300 emails a day. It's part of the process. So I kind of like
Mm.
to manage my time, my day of how to do it. This way I don't get too bored doing the same thing at all times. So I kind of like break my days because obviously, in order to do say something like that, like I do, I mean, you have to be ADD. I guess I am, because I like perfection and I like everything the right way. So
I think one thing you said I really liked was that you have to work smart and hard because there's always the work smart, not hard, or because you can work smart and not hard and not get and not achieve much. You can also work really hard but not smart and not get much going. And I think you look at the most successful people in their field, they're saying they're willing to put in those long hours. They're willing to work. They're willing to do what it takes, like you explained. But then there's also how can I do everything smarter? How can I get more leverage? How can I get more connections? More? How can I leverage my time better? And that really sticks out to me as something that I don't hear people say very often. But it's the fact that you do have to work smart and you do have to work hard. It's not you can't on this road to creating the kind of success you've achieved. You can't choose just one.
but there is no such thing as perfection. Listen, I
Yeah.
don't know that I will ever be able to. I mean, obviously, there's those big captain of industries that really kind of figure it out. That they know how to do it, and I admire those guys. That big tech and things that they know how to work smart without working too hard because they really know how to put it together. One point, I was talking to one of my friends who's in that space, and just made it super successful. And the idea was, he said, Jeff, I see you doing accounting. Having said that, when if I do an hour or two of accounting, I don't necessarily do it because somebody else gonna do it. I kind of like it's therapeutic for me.
Huh.
It's kind of like it exercise of the mind. I mean, for me, I find a certain joy in doing it. It's just like exercise of the mind. But obviously, hypothetically, I'm not quoting how much my hour is worth or whatever it is. And let's assume my time is worth $100 an hour. Okay. What should I do the job of somebody? And my friend came to me and he said, I see you working hard. You're putting 10 hours, 12 hours, 15-hour days, and I'm there 7 days a week, like always doing something. I said, but you don't really need basically to sometimes do your own filing. That's a $20 an hour, $20 an hour job or $15 an hour job. What can you just delegate it? If you work it 100, why don't you just maximize your time in what you are good at? And
Yeah.
obviously that's always the beauty of the space where we are in any whatever industry. There's always room for improvement. There's always room to, like I say, maximize your potential. Obviously, as I move on in growth, in spiritually and business wise and economically as well, you find I kind of pinpoint more where my talent is, quote unquote, without sounding pretentious, that is more at use. And obviously I know that I have a gift of being around people, and young kids come to me and say, how come you know so many celebrities? How come everybody knows you? Even my personal friends. We go out to Super Bowl, All-Star or Grammys or Oscars or F1 and whatever it is. I walk in, I know pretty much everybody. I mean, I would say 99% of the people I know, like when it's a big name, whether it's a CEO of a company, whether it's a celebrity, whether it's somebody that's completely obscure who has a part of it. But it's 40 years of hard work and passion. The passion is even more relevant than the hard work, because it's kind of like you let go. There's a point in life when you basically let go, just like I said, work hard, work smart, find your talent, and then you let go. You just do your thing. Then the universe kind of like balances out all those energies and give you, basically surround the whole thing with the aura of you becoming who you can be your best. So for me, where obviously I get the most passion is when I have to design, when I have to create art, because as and sexy that it looks like, but I have no problem creating. It's not like I wake
Yeah.
up in the morning and I say, wow, my God, I have to do this. Let me get a pencil and start drawing and doing the whole thing. It's just like, it has become mechanical up to a point where if I have to design a jacket for Travis Scott, I know exactly what to do right away. So, I mean, I can put things together, and because the experience of 44 years of me being in the business just make it very easy for me to do. I mean, again, I don't want to often use the same thing to sound too pretentious, but let's say when Dr. Dre gets into a studio, or Metro get into a studio, I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, those guys are going to create at the end of whether
Yeah.
it's a half hour or 2 hours, a hit is going to come out of it, or whatever it is, or a song is going to come out of it. Might not be always hits, but if you really are immersed like I am into the culture, and I'm pop culture like I've been for all those years, I creating and being relevant is just to feel vibration of
Mm.
moment. And the biggest mistake that a lot of people do is, I'll give you an example, like for instance, of a music artist, okay? And I'm not going to mention name, but let's say they come up with a big hit and they say, wow, we're going to stay, we're going to continue, we're going to make another song that looks like that. The whole thing is just like you're on the road, you have to keep evolving. If you stand still
Yes.
to recapture what you had in the past, the train continue moving. So basically you're in a car and the train goes out. You have to go at the same speed at the evolution. So you have to live in the moment. That's why when people live in the past, they get stuck there, So,
Wow.
there's still people in 2024 that wear durags, because it was hip in 2000 when Iverson wore the durags, but they feel like there was a time where 20 years ago when they were, let's assume they 45 years old, but 25, they were feel great about their persona. They felt they were loved, they were relevant, and and they got stuck in that moment. So it's like
They try to hold on to that feeling, and they're not moving forward.
when I was in my 20s, 30s, my hair
Wow.
was up to here and I had the earring, and then I started dyeing my hair and I started doing, and at a point of time, you just move with your times, evolve with your time. Don't get stuck with your skinny jeans. If you have to, if I have to evolve, I have to go to baggy jeans. Okay, I evolve. I mean, it's not like I follow the trend. I follow whatever I feel like, and
Yeah.
that's kind of, whether it's fashion, whether it's lifestyle, whether it's relationship with people, is always learn out of the universe has given you, whether it's like the mistakes or the rewards that you've had. And that's on one hand. On the other hand, just you cannot just go and live in the future. That's what creates
Mm.
anxiety,
Yeah.
So living in the past creates depression because you want to be where you were before and you cannot have it. Living in the future creates anxiety because you anticipate, you project something that you want to be in the future that you're not. When you live in a moment, all you say is, like I said again, I repeat myself, just plant seeds,
And
create sparkles. All I'm doing is myself is just go out and try to create sparkles. When I meet somebody, when somebody gives you a card, when somebody you talk about a new project, it's just you create sparkles. And then obviously from the work that you have and through your team, you make sure that the sparkles, and not all the sparkles are going to become a fire, but you make sure you nurture those sparkles to build up, become a fire. To the point the fire is big enough, then at the time I go back again and then I dance around the fire and I get the reward of it.
it's a lot of work, a lot of planting seeds that you're putting into things. Not
Yeah.
everything has to be a hit, but doing enough times, you eventually create a hit, then you create another hit, then you create another hit. And over time, you start to get that pattern down of being able to do that faster and fast. Not that every single time is going to be that, but you get better at being able to do that. And it sounds like it's just because you're sowing so much work and putting so many seeds into the ground with your work. But it also sounds like, and I know I only have a few minutes left, but I would just have to ask.
It's okay.
I have to ask. It sounds like people too. It sounds like you care about people and you like connecting with people.
Very
Because
much.
there's a lot of fashion designers that just stay in the back room and try to create the design, but they don't get out and they don't get into the world
No.
and shake the hands. How important has it been, the ability to connect with just people and just connect with other humans to build what you've built?
It's so rewarding for me. I mean, and again, for me, when people stop me in the street, and obviously, I mean, like when I go to those events and mostly also back east in Miami, like New York, Philly. Like people stop me in the street and they come to me or at the airports and they say, oh my God, just the biggest compliment because I'm living a dream and people come to me and they say, can I take a picture? I mean, they think I'm making them happy. They don't realize that they're making me happy because they're appreciating my work. And it's not about the ego part of it. It's just like really trying to do it. And for me, I could be with LeBron, but I could be also with that usher at one of the stadiums that comes to me and says, my God, oh, you Jeff Hamilton, thank you for what the greatest compliment when people say, thank you for your contribution to the culture. And people don't know that I'm so passionate about what I do. I would do it even if I didn't make any money. I mean, I always use an example, which is obviously I'm not comparing myself to those guys, but I'm using that example. Like if you talk to a Michael Jordan or Kobe or LeBron, just to use iconic players. I mean, if those guys didn't get paid the money they were doing, or if they didn't have 1 ounce of fame, they'd still be shooting the basketball for 3-4 hours a day, and they'll still be passionate about it. So that's the way I live my life. I'm blessed to do the things that I do. Obviously, if I can make a business out of it, and if I can make other people happy, and I can influence people and get the reward of it, and again, building a legacy, those are really my gifts. So, but also I have like a couple of the rules that I really I'm very, very strict to. I hate procrastination. So for me, if something needs to get done, I do it. I just don't like to assume that tomorrow morning I'm going to be waking up to be able to do it. So it's basically procrastination is insulting God or the universe, assuming that you're going to be here tomorrow to do something that you can do today.
It's very assumptive, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's one. And my biggest pet peeve is entitlement, and thinking that you deserve. I work hard. Of course, I'm a great designer. I deserve. I work hard. No, I feel like I'm nothing. I really feel like at all time I really try to get my feet to touch the ground. That's why I try to stay. And I'm not saying I am. I try to be as humble as I can. And I mean, I'm doing something with Harvard. I'm going to be speaking at Harvard, but if a local high school asked me to go and speak, I would do the same way. I mean, for me, it's no difference. It's not the prestige has not there. So our business, our life is so fragile, and we don't appreciate the gift that we have. And I often use that analogy, like the old glory sequoia tree in Yosemite National Park is like hundreds and hundreds of years, who knows how many years. If you take that big tree, and you chop it up and chop it up and chop it up and chop it up, you can get, I don't know, millions upon millions of matches from that tree. But all it takes is one match to burn that whole tree. So that's how fragile we are in life.
Wow, that's it's really powerful. There, you have such a different way of looking at everything, and when you talked about doing your books as being therapeutic, I see this art behind you. It's very pattern driven. As a fashion designer, there's a lot of patterns. It seems like your brain really enjoys solving puzzles, getting shapes, colors, patterns, numbers to reconcile in one form or another, and just the level of passion and work ethic and smart that you bring to this. It's no matter that. No wonder you keep winning. And you mentioned Kobe and Michael and these guys, they would play whether they had the money or not. I worked with a lot of NFL teams, and you would see the guys that would just get signed to the NFL, and they would just party. It'd be Saturday before the game. They're drinking and they're driving around their Bentley. And then, a couple years later, their career is gone. And I could always see the guys that were going to have the long careers, that they were focused. And they didn't let it get to their head. And I see that about you. And that's probably a lot of reason why you've been able to not just, have a little bit of success, but to have a lot of sustained success over time. So really excited to see kind of this next phase of what you're going to do. So I kind of have one final question for you, Jeff, and I'm sure you're going to give us a completely unique perspective on this as you have for some of the other questions I've asked is, the takeover is all about winning every area of life and business. And so what does winning mean to you? What does it mean to win?
Winning for me is being the best that you can be at all moments, and maximizing your potential, and try to, again, not to be entitled. And I'm not saying that I have not, and those are lessons I've heard in my life. When I was 26 years old, and I basically moved to America, and I founded the first license of Guess Jeans, and I'm shipping $75 million, and I'm barely speaking English, and I don't have a green card, and suddenly you have all the success, and you go in, and you go to a Rolls Royce dealership, and you throw the credit card, and walk 10 minutes later with a Rolls Royce. So it's kind of, that's pure entitlement, pure ego, pure everything. So obviously that this is, and it feels great at the time, but we have to realize that I'm not saying to be cheap in everything that you do, but you really have to be aware of all the forces at all time. So you have to balance your life at all time with all the good and the bad. And listen, I mean, you still have to, you still I still like to go and splurge sometime here and there, and having a nice car, or a nice watch, or nice clothing. And we still do. We still have filters. We still put filters. It's not like we are transparent. I'm wearing glasses. I'm wearing a jacket. There is an image that I project, that people think of me. There is a tan. It's kind of like, all those are just filters that I put in, because when I look at myself in the mirror, this is the way I want people to look at me and relate to me. Winning is about trying to be the best of you, and being as honest and as you can, keep your integrity. You can be successful with hard work and integrity. You don't have to cut corners. You can be
Yes.
and when you achieve that, it's just probably the best reward, because money is not always the best reward. So a smile of a grandson, and holding your grandson in your arm, or having a kid in the street stopping you for a picture, or wanting you to sign their jacket. It's just like, for me, I feel so much love and so much reward from it. And that, again, that's not quantified with a dollar sign next to it.
I love that. Yeah. Well, Jeff, this has been awesome. I think one thing I've really enjoyed about this is you're very clear on hey, I've got 3 areas of success for this. I've got 3 rules for this. And so you're very, very clear on every area of your life, on how you govern it, how the rules you have. You've mentioned integrity many times in this, and other people, caring about a legacy for other people. And it's always awesome to meet somebody that has both created a lot of success, and you can tell they're just great, genuine humans that truly care about doing good and leaving the world a better place than it came to them with. And so it's been great getting to know you, Jeff. And yeah, talk to you later.
Likewise. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.